So there's all this talk about everyday carry, right? Why don't we talk about overland carry? What I carry on an overland trip. Let's talk about it. Alright, so what I have here is two of my overland build outs. Now, the bag I always use, or I should say the bag I typically use, is the Last Call Pack. I also have the Gamut 2.0 here, which on occasion, if I need a bigger bag, I'll go to this one. But today I'm going to be discussing my current loadout, which is in the Last Call Pack. And I'm also going to discuss the pros and cons of each pack and why I'll kind of trade off packs occasionally. But let's dive into what I have in the Last Call Pack. So, first of all, when you take a look at this bag, this design is a lot different than the rest of Vertix's bags. The biggest difference is this flap here. Most Vertix bags just have the zipper, which is really nice for a lot of things, but I also like just kind of having an easy access flap. Now, typically, you're supposed to put these clips in to keep the flap tied down, but it has Velcro, so I typically just run with them off. Easy open, it's got the wide mouth. But before I dive into what's on the inside, let's kind of just talk about the outside of the bag, its appearance, things like that. So this bag is typically meant for, you know, outdoorsy people. It has that knapsack look, which is kind of dope. I kind of like it. But the design is more functional than a typical knapsack, which you just open up and throw stuff in. It has a lot more organization than that. Now, as I'm going to talk about later, in comparison to the Gamut 2.0, there's a little bit less organization available inside of this bag, but I'll show you what I mean. The first thing we have is two water bottle pockets, and right now I have a Nalgene in one, which, you know, you got to have a Nalgene. They kind of suck to drink out of sometimes. But I also have bear spray in this pocket, which I never carried before, but after Maine I started carrying one. I hope I never need it. I doubt I ever will, but just in case, got it right here. Moving on to the back of the bag, we have this nice little pocket to open up to the back. So let me just undo this and show you what I mean. If I can find the zipper, I don't know where I put the zipper. Here we go. So open this up. I don't have anything in here right now. I typically don't, but you can store papers or documents or whatever you want in the back here. Like I said, it's not my thing. I don't usually store stuff back here, but that's available if you need it. Now, the important part of the bag, the inside. So I'm gonna open up this flap. I'm gonna show you the only organization that this bag really has is up top here, which you may or may not be able to see. You get two pockets. You get one with the zipper, and you get two pockets here. You can just kind of slide stuff in. So I have a pen in here, I have a flashlight, and I also have a knife in case my main knife fails. In the pocket with the zipper, I have some just kind of odds and ends, just batteries and stuff like that. So I'll have the radio battery, which I'll talk about later. I have two packets of hand warmers. And again, if you're sleeping out in the cold, this is helpful when warming up your sleeping bag. And the last thing I have in here is a battery for the flashlight, an extra battery, I should say, for the flashlight. And then on the inside of the bag, I'll just kind of pull stuff out. It's basically just a wide mouth top, and you can just put a whole bunch of stuff in here. So I'll have my sunglasses case, carry these around with me everywhere. I have an old drone battery that started failing, but now I'm using it for an external battery pack, and it is really nice to have. I can charge my phone, I don't know how many times, which is why I have my charging cable here, but it really holds charge very well. I also have this headlamp. I shouldn't say a headlamp, I should say, I don't know what you'd call this, a light bar for your head. This thing is extremely bright, and it gives you like a 270-degree angle of light. It's incredible. I love this thing. It's just a little cheap one, but it actually works amazing. So I definitely recommend one of these if you're camping. I also have an OBD2 scanner, which I drive crappy vehicles, and I shouldn't say the FG is crappy because it's not, but I carry this thing with me in case, you know, my daily breaks down or whatever. I can see what the problem is. But also for overlanding, in case a vehicle has check engine light and I want to see what it is, if it's critical or not, I'll take this thing. Now, you've probably seen this thing sticking out the entire time. This is my radio. I'll use this if I'm with friends or whatever and we're just driving and I can communicate with them. And I also use it for NOAA weather. But honestly, it's just a backup in case something goes wrong. That way I have something to communicate with. And the final thing, and probably the most important thing, let me get this out, is the med kit. Now, do I like the spot that it's at? No, it's at the bottom of my bag, and I don't really like that. I want to find a better spot for it, but it's also very big and bulky because it's not just a med kit, it's also a survival kit. So it has like fire starters and extra raincoats and, you know, just survival stuff. But this thing I have used a few times, not for emergency medical situations, but for band-aids and wrapping up wounds and stuff like that. So I definitely recommend carrying one of these. It's extremely important when being out alone, and I've only learned that recently. But when I had to use it in New Hampshire for my friend's leg, it definitely came in handy, as I had a lot of gauze in here to wrap him up with, but super helpful. And the last pocket in here, it's a little laptop sleeve, and what I have in here is not a laptop, but I have my Bible, and I also have a notebook. And this notebook I use all the time, especially when overlanding. I'll use it to plan and to plan stuff ahead, but also to remember stuff that I need for the trip. So that is very nice to always have on hand. Now, moving on to the front of the bag, it has this little, I don't even know what you'd call this thing, but it has a zipper, and you can just pull it down and you can store stuff in it. I don't know what it's called, super nice. I have gloves, which I use all the time in the winter. Have socks, these are extra socks in case, you know, my current socks get wet. And I should also explain what I use this pocket for. It's for, I should say, survival situations. Now the gloves and socks, I'll probably need those, but the rest of the stuff down below I probably won't need in most situations, but I always like to have them. So in that case, I got the life straw, and I got the emergency blankets. And these things, if you don't know what they are, it's like tin foil essentially, and you wrap yourself in it and it traps heat. I have used it once, not in an emergency situation, but for fun, and it actually works pretty well. So there's that. And then the last thing is a raincoat. So I've never actually had to use this yet, even though it has been raining. I usually just suck it up or whatever, but just in case, I got a raincoat. So what I like about this bag, well, first of all, it's a Vertex bag, so the quality is amazing. It holds up to anything you throw at it, and you could pack this thing full and not have anything tear on it. It's amazing. I love that. The other aspect is that it's a totally different bag than the rest of Vertex's lineup. Like I said, the design is completely different, and that's why I kind of like it, because, you know, you don't have to deal with zippers, and you can just open this thing up, throw stuff in. It's a wide mouth top, so you can just pack it full, as full as you want, and that's all you need. Now, as far as the cons go for this thing, I do have two cons. One is that it's not a big bag. You can't stuff it very full, which does force me to only bring what I need, because I'll have to stuff clothes in here as well. So it does get pretty full, but it kind of makes me slim down what I bring. And the other thing is that there's not much organization. I'll talk about that in the Gamut 2.0, but the Gamut 2.0 has a ton of places to organize stuff. This thing has a few pockets up top, and that's about it. But otherwise, I love this bag, and I definitely am gonna keep using it for overland adventures. Now, sometimes I'll trade off to the Gamut 2.0, and let's actually talk about that. I'm gonna talk about the Gamut 2.0 and why I use that sometimes. The big thing is, of course, is that it holds a lot of things. Whatever you need, it will hold it. It's a lot of space. But I do love the design of this thing. Everything on this bag was designed for purpose. It wasn't just for looks. It's very utilitarian, and I love that. So first of all, it has the pocket, which the last call pack has, but has MOLLE and Velcro inside. So you can use that for anything. Typically, this is the same pocket I'll use for, you know, the raincoat and life straw and stuff like that. And as we move on around the bag, you'll see that at the cup holders, it has another pocket, and in that pocket, there's more pockets. So like, there's like 2 more pockets in here. So you can store a lot, and that's on either side. And the back has the same thing as well, which you can open this up and put more stuff in the back. Again, I don't usually do that. Now, my favorite part about this bag, and why I'll occasionally switch to this bag, is when packing a lot of clothes, because it's my favorite part. You can rip down the whole side of the bag and just pack it with clothes. I love that. So it has 4 pockets up here that you can stick pens, knives, flashlights, whatever in. And then it has 2 large pockets, which you can stick literally whatever you want in these pockets. So I love that. Inside is kind of the same. It's got that laptop sleeve. It's got, you know, whatever. So both of these bags serve a purpose, and they also help me organize my overlanding loadout. So the reason I made this video, this very short video, I wanted to kind of talk about what I carry on overland adventures, because I wanted that to start a conversation of like, what do you guys carry? I want to see what other people carry, because I know there's stuff I'm missing and there's stuff I want to add, and I want to see what other people carry on their overland adventures. Using these bags is a very quick way to just grab a bag and go on a trip. Yes, you still have to pack it, but it's very simplified. You just throw it in and you're good to go. But anyways, thank you for watching. Do what you gotta do down below, and I'll see you in the next one.